400 kilometers from the Strait of Malacca, the single most important waterway on the planet, India is building something that has no name in Western news: a $10 billion island. While Beijing was busy buying ports in Pakistan and Sri Lanka, India was quietly fortifying the one door China must walk through to survive. A military base, a deep-water transshipment port, an international airport, all on a single piece of land India already owned: Great Nicobar Island. And China has no answer for it. Every port Beijing built, every radar it installed, every billion it spent surrounding India in the Indian Ocean, made strategically irrelevant by geography India already controlled. This is that story.
Before we explain what India did, you need to understand what the Indian Ocean actually is. 80% of China's crude oil crosses this water. 60% of all Chinese trade. 90% of Japan's energy. Half of the world's container ships. And all of it, every barrel, every ship, must pass through 3 gates. 3 choke points so narrow that a single navy can lock them shut. The Strait of Malacca, 2.8 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. The Strait of Hormuz, the Bab el-Mandeb. If Malacca closes for 10 days, China's factories stop, its fuel runs out, its economy seizes. Beijing knows this. They named their own fear. They called it the Malacca Dilemma, coined by President Hu Jintao himself in 2003. China has been trying to solve that dilemma ever since, and India has been quietly making sure it never can.
China's solution was called the String of Pearls, a ring of ports, bases, and listening posts built all around India. Pearl 1, Chittagong, Bangladesh, $2 billion. Intelligence reports confirm electronic surveillance of Indian Navy movements in the Bay of Bengal. Pearl 2, Kyauk Phu, Myanmar, $7.3 billion. A deep-sea port with direct pipeline access to Chinese territory. And on Coco Island, just 58 kilometers from India's Andaman Islands, a 2,300-meter runway now handles fighter jets. A radar that sees 500 kilometers into Indian airspace. Pearl 3, Hambantota, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka couldn't repay China's lane. In 2017, Beijing took the port on a 99-year lease. Same move the British used in Hong Kong. Pearl 4, Gwadar, Pakistan. $62 billion. 400 kilometers from Hormuz. Chinese submarines docking openly since March 2025. Pearl 5, Djibouti. China's first overseas military base. 3,500 Marines. Direct control over the Bab el-Mandeb entrance. On paper, this is a perfect encirclement strategy. India surrounded. India choked. On paper.
Here is what China miscalculated. India does not need to buy geography. It was born with it. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands, 572 islands, 800 kilometers long, sit like a natural aircraft carrier directly across the entrance of the Malacca Strait. India controls the western gate of Malacca, not because it bought it, because the planet put it there. Between 2020 and 2025, India invested over $2 billion upgrading these islands. New runways at Campbell Bay, upgraded naval base INS Baz, submarines repositioned, a coastal radar chain that sees all the way to China's Coco Island installation. And then came Great Nicobar. A $10 billion project, transshipment port, international airport, logistics hub, at India's southernmost point, positioned precisely where every ship heading toward or away from Malacca must pass. When operational, India won't just watch traffic at Malacca. It will process it. Port calls, fuel stops, cargo, all flowing through Indian infrastructure. China spent decades buying influence around India. India built one island and gained leverage over China's entire ocean strategy.
China tried to build alternatives. The CPEC corridor through Pakistan to Gwadar, unstable, expensive, and attacked regularly by local insurgents. Pipelines through Myanmar, delayed, insecure, and dependent on a military government India is also courting. The Arctic Polar Silk Road, seasonal at best, dependent on Russian cooperation, now under maximum strain. Every alternative China built has a fatal flaw. None of them replace Malacca. Meanwhile, India signed logistics agreements with Oman, Indonesia, Seychelles, Singapore, France, the UK, and the United States. Its warships now refuel at ports across 3 oceans. The necklace of diamonds is not India surrounding China. It is India making itself impossible to isolate, while China remains dangerously dependent on one narrow strait.
China has money. India has geography, and now infrastructure to match it. China is buying its way into the Indian Ocean. India is fortifying the door China must walk through. The string of pearls cost China over $1 trillion, and India's answer cost $10 billion, placed in exactly the right location. In geopolitics, position beats investment every time. Subscribe, because next week we examine how China's Bangladesh gamble just collapsed and what it means for the Bay of Bengal.